The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Here's Nikki. Hello, here I am. Happy Tuesday. How's it going, guys? It's the winter solstice, right? Isn't it the 21st?
Oh, yeah.
That means it's winter today. It's like the
Happy
shortest.
winter.
Yeah, happy winter. It's like the shortest day of the year or something like that.
Sure does
This
feel
morning,
like it.
This morning the moon was out. I don't understand the moon. Like sometimes the moon's like out during the day and it's just like the moon is a shifty my brain's not working yet today, but he plays by his own rules, the moon. And do you know why the moon would be out during the day? Does that make sense to you?
I think from what I've learned, the moon is always out. It's just that we don't see it because of clouds or the sun is too bright. But I think it's just out through the whole day.
Okay. Yeah, don't write into us and tell us what that
don't.
is. I could easily Google it if I care. So I have a feeling like if I knew that, I would be compelled to be like, let her know. But I'll look it up if I want to know. But yeah, there's some things that I don't know. Do you know how long it takes the sun's rays to hit the earth?
No.
Apparently my friend got a cognitive like test done to check his like if he's stupid or not or whatever, and there's a picture that's askew and it was bothering me, and one of the questions was like how long does it take the sun's rays to hit earth, and it's 8 minutes and 30 seconds. It could have been anywhere from 0.01 seconds to 10,000 years. You know what? I would not have said 10,000 years because the speed of light is pretty fucking fast. And I know that if the sun explodes, like, we'll die. And it's not... I've never heard the thing of, like, it could explode and we wouldn't know it yet. That would happen if it exploded. It would take 8 minutes and 30 seconds for us to see it, I guess.
I was just
But
about
isn't
to
it weird?
ask.
What?
I was just about to ask, what are we supposed to do with that information? Why is it useful?
It's just nice to know the speed of light, I guess. It's just, that's a good point. Why is it useful? I don't know. Because there's no, like, the speed of light is so fast that I guess what is interesting, though, is when you look at stars, you're looking at the past. Mm-hmm. That to me is cool. And I mean, also the sun, you're looking at 8 minutes ago, but I think the stars is like really, really long time ago. Man, I was reading about like on Reddit, they had this thing called like, what's this? It was an Ask Reddit, and it was like, what's the most disturbing thing you know? Or like something most unsettling thing. And there's this theory called the dark forest theory. Have you ever heard of it?
No, do tell.
Okay, so there's a huge chance that there is intelligent life somewhere in either our galaxy or other galaxies. They've determined that there must be intelligent life out there. The odds that there wouldn't be are there's just no chance there's not, based on how many different places there are in the galaxy that would support intelligent life. So the dark forest theory is that there's just no way. If we are, it's like 1 in a billion chance or something. Like it's some astronomical number that those are the odds that we are the only one here. So the theory is that these people are all hiding in the forest, all these intelligent lives. If you're intelligent enough, you know that any other civilization that you find in the galaxy would destroy you immediately because it would be a threat to your, survival.
Wait, are they in our forests or like on other planets?
Other planets.
Oh, okay.
But like out in space, right? Like our galaxy and beyond. So if there probably are intelligent civilizations in whatever that would look like out there. But they would be so intelligent that they would know that any time that they would find another life form out there, that life form, based on what life is you just want to survive at any cost. So knowing that, they would immediately be engaged in a battle where they would die. So the idea is if you know that there's something out there, you want to stay hidden. To go out and look for it is the dumbest thing you could do. So they are smarter than us probably, or based upon, the odds, there are intelligent life forms that are far more advanced than we are. We've only been around for like 10,000 years, humanity or whatever it is. Or if hundreds of thousands of years, but modern civilization, like in the industrial age has only been, a couple hundred years. So what that means is that they're out there and they're hiding because they don't want to engage. And as soon as we find them, they're going to be forced to destroy us immediately. And they will be able to because they are so much more advanced than us. So the idea that we're out looking for them is like the dumbest thing in the world to do. And we should absolutely stop. That's the dark forest theory. And that any second we're going to find them. And as soon as we do, they're going to be like, you're gone. Like, we're not going to put up with this because it's pretty much that we're like the dumbest people to be like, where are you guys? Knowing that the sole mission of any civilization is to destroy anything that would threaten it equals they're more advanced, they would destroy us immediately without question or enslave us or whatever that is. So we're dumb to go looking for them.
Are
Do you believe in
looking for them?
aliens? I believe.
I believe too, like, I think it's very selfish to think that we're the only living civilizations, but I'm not looking for them. I'm fine with never discovering an alien.
Right. I
What
never
about you?
want to see one either. The other day, Andrew tells me that he walked into our apartment and we have all these wires that are lining the walls so that they could put lighting up for when those cameras were tracking my life.
Oh, those cameras. What are they
And
for?
we don't know.
We don't have
We
no
have
idea.
yet to know. And that's a lie. I just want to be honest with you. I do know, but I can't tell you. But there's all these lights up in my house. And there's all these wires that are like hung with tape, around the perimeters of the room so that it doesn't look crazy. But the wires are starting to fall because of just, the tape's wearing off. And this one wire is falling right in front of our door for the podcast studio. It's like this long wire is just dangling like an arc. And Andrew said he came in the other day from being on the road. He got back several days before I did. And he said he walked in and it was swaying like a lot. And I was like, dude, it's the it's the air. And he's like, dude, it was a lot. And I go, I've already seen it. Like, when I see a wire swaying, I don't go, ghost. I go, what's the scientific explanation for this? Because it ain't ghost. Ghosts cannot be. Because if they are, I will not sleep. I made a deal with myself at an early age that ghosts may not exist. Because if they do, I would be in constant horror. I would never want to be alone. I would never want to walk to my kitchen in the dark. I wouldn't be able to exist. Honestly, you know what? My life as a child was sleepless. I had bags under my eyes constantly. I had insomnia as a child because I was scared of aliens abducting me. And ghosts weren't even registering. I thought, aliens are much more of a threat to me than ghosts. I had heard too many stories. I knew about the Men in Black before that movie even came out. Like, I knew that the Men in Black show up if you've seen an alien. So I didn't want to see an alien because I knew the Men in Black would come and show up at my door. So so then I made a deal with myself at one point where I go, ghosts aren't real, Nikki. Because if they are, that's the thing about, Sarah Silverman used to have a joke about people protesting at abortion clinics. And if you really thought that babies were being murdered, like if you in your heart of hearts thought that abortion was murdering babies, you damn right they should be out there protesting. Like, if that's what they really felt. So when these little girls, when parents have their kids hold signs and these little girls are crying and like, life begins at whatever, and they're holding these signs, those little girls, like, I have a lot of compassion for them because they don't know that from what they hear from their parents, babies are being murdered and then tossed into dumpsters. They should be upset. They should be screaming at the women walking in, don't do this, please. If they really thought that was the case, whereas adults are intelligent enough to understand what that is. And if they aren't, or if they somehow believe it really is murdering babies, they have a right to be that upset. And I was talking to someone about veganism recently, and I was saying that, that's how like vegans feel. It's like that there's holocausts of animals happening constantly. Billions of animals being needlessly murdered and suffering their whole lives, every single day, globally. And it's just so, why you think vegans are so annoying is the same reason that I just said for the kids crying about babies being murdered. Vegans truly feel that animals that are as intelligent, as sweet as your dog are being needlessly murdered every day for mass consumption, where you just take a bite and you go, I don't like this, and you throw it out. Like, not even like enjoying food, like, thank you for this meal, turkey who gave its life. It's just like, I don't like dark meat, I don't want it, and like throwing it away. It's like, that's why we're so upset. We truly feel like dogs are being murdered every day by the millions. So for you to, even if you don't look at veganism that way, or you don't feel the same way I feel about that stuff, have some compassion for vegans who are really mitigating how upset we are at the scale of which we feel animals just like Luigi are being murdered, which, by the way, I've always said is the best part of an animal's life that isn't factory farming. The murder is not, when someone eats meat in front of me, they're always like, I'm so sorry. And I go, I'm so grateful that animal is dead, because it was before it died that its life sucked. Death was the greatest gift that animal ever received in its life. So I'm glad it's dead. So that, like, it was just an interesting thing to posit about, was the fact that, yeah, like that's how I feel. And when I first became a vegan, it just caused me such depression, because it was just constantly being confronted by it. And like, you just suddenly see the world in a different way, and then you can't unsee it. And I had to just do what I honestly feel like Nazi Germany had to do. And I'm sorry to compare it to the Holocaust, but I'm going to. Like, I know people and animals are different, but I just feel like, there were a lot of civilians who knew exactly what was going on, and they were probably fucking horrified by it. But they had there's nothing they could do as an individual at the time, I guess. And so you go, how could you let that happen? Well, there are people that stand in front of these factory farm trucks and like risk their life to just give these animals a piece of compassion before they go into the slaughterhouse, whatever it is. And are on the front lines trying to make this stop. Greenpeace, the whaling boats, they risk their lives. I can't do that. I'm not willing to die for it. I don't know. There was a time where I just had to give up. And now I'm like, oh, I'll wear a little vegan pin. That's like all I can do is like, and have one of these rants once every 20 episodes. But yeah, it's just, do you ever care about something so much and no one else is on board, or so few people are on board, or most of your friends aren't, that you just have to kind of go, I just got to keep this to myself and find a way to survive in a world where no one else agrees with me, or the bulk of people don't.
You know what? Yes, I found myself in those situations, and I think what gets me through is just like, I know what the truth is. And if they're suffering and all of that, it's going to be inevitable that it's going to come out, but everyone will reach that truth in their own time.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's good. I feel like that's how I've kind of made peace with it too, is that I was once that person too. Like I was once.
Sure. Exactly.
But I just have to say that, before you get there, and I really don't judge people who eat meat. Like, go at it at your own time, but you will get there eventually if we live long enough, and the truth will come out, and we'll be horrified by what we did, much like smoking inside with children, or, no seat belts with kids back in the day, or like all of the things that we look back and we go, how could we have done, or, just the slaughter of Native Americans, the slaughter of the genocide of any people. And the people that kind of sat back and go, well, it's not me. I can't really say anything, and I don't want to get in the way because I don't want to use honor. Like, we look back and we go, how could that have happened? I think we'll do that for animals. But I don't know that we'll last long enough because we're looking for aliens and they're going to destroy us right away, which will be the best thing that ever happened to all those animals' lives is when the planet just explodes because of a fucking laser beam from a child alien who's just like, Mom, I found one. And then the earth explodes. Like we just become a little game like a gnat. Like of just stepping on a gnat. Do you ever step on ants and you just go, oh my, like you accidentally step on a bug or like you purposely kill one, which I don't believe you should ever do. But like you just go, they were just walking along and then bam. Sometimes I read about like, and this is all on these Reddit threads where it's like, what's the most horrifying thing you can think of? And a lot of them is like these, solar events that are like, oh, we get sucked into a black hole, or they have all these names for it, but there's all these things that are bound to happen if we last long enough, like a sun explosion, or like there's some kind of sun thing that'll suck us in immediately.
You gotta get off
and people
Reddit.
go, that's so horrifying. I go, that's gonna be the greatest thing ever. I don't want it to be like this thing where we lose all our oxygen and we're like and there's like ash and volcanic dust and we all suffocate to death. I'd like it to just be bam. Like I'm just like brushing my teeth and blink of an eye, done. That would be a better death than literally any other way to die. We wouldn't even see it coming. Like whenever someone like, there's this one that I read about a lot where a bridge fell on a girl. Like this bridge just collapses when these people are in traffic and the girl she's in the passenger seat, gets splattered. Like she just gets flattened like a piece of paper. Like they can't find literally any of her remains except her cell phone, which was like next to her. There's no piece of her that her parents can keep. Not a necklace, not a shred of clothing, nothing. The guy in the next to her in the car, her friend, completely scratchless. Nothing happened to them. It was just like just her. And I think that wouldn't be the worst. That's so tragic. Wouldn't be the worst way to go because there's no, oh my God. That's my biggest fear of dying is the, oh my God, right before it. Of like, I had this vision last night that I'm going to be crushed to death by something that's falling and I can see it falling. And I go, no. Because that's what happened to me when I got hit by a cab. Yeah. Right before I got hit by a cab, I go, no. And I remember as I said, no. These are your last words, bitch. This is it. No. I don't want to say anything. I want to be like, singing a Taylor Swift song. And then it just cuts me off right before the bridge, which is the best part of any Taylor Swift song. You know that. Right before the bridge falls on me. The bridge of the Taylor. That would be the best bridge to fall on you. The bridge of All Too Well. 10-minute version, baby. Speaking of Taylor Swift, I have been doing daily open mics over on the Nikki Glaser Pod Instagram account. I cannot stop. I have time off right now, and that is what I do with my time off. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined in and watched over there. I just put a video up on my Instagram of me singing to Luigi yesterday. And so I think we're going to get a lot more Nikki Glaser Pod subscribers that aren't really fans of the podcast. I'm a little bit nervous about that. But I said, I'm doing these daily open mics. So I'm guessing it's going to be people that are curious to see that. So that's a good person. If they're curious to see me singing to my dog, we'll let them in, even if and then maybe they'll become fans of the podcast through that. I don't know. But I am trying to keep it pure over it. Pure sounds like,
nice.
That sounds like we're back to where we started. I'm trying to keep the Nikki Glaser Pod family like actual listeners and besties, but there might be some more in there today after my post, but so be it. Go watch that video, by the way, if you missed it yesterday of me singing to Luigi. It is so fucking cute. I can't stand it. Let's get Andrew in here. Andrew! Hey, Andrew.
Yo.
No glasses today?
I left him in the car.
Oh, shit. I was just talking about, I've been going live on Instagram every single day on the Nikki Glaser Pod to do Taylor Swift open mics. And honestly, I've done it 4 days in a row, I think.
I know when you're going to do it.
When you
text
leave.
me, you go,
are you going to be gone?
you're going to be gone for a while.
I know. Well, yesterday I asked him if I had to go to therapy, and I was like, as I was running out, I didn't have time to give Luigi his second WALK of the day. He's right here, so I don't want to say it. And ML, he responds to even the spelling now, and even on MLK Junior Day, he goes,
Oh,
because it sounds like it. But yesterday, can I just guess? This is how much I overthink things, and I think I know you. So yesterday, I think it timed out perfectly that I asked Andrew as I was leaving, hey, can you walk Luigi if you have time? But he had to go get his booster shot. On the way back from therapy, I go, I don't care if you weren't able to. I just want to know if he's had a second WALK. So I go, did you walk him? It's okay if you didn't. Just need to know. And he was like, and he said, I wasn't able. Oh yeah, wasn't able to getting the booster shot. And I go, cool. Then I get home, and then I go, hey, when are you gonna be home? And I think you maybe read that as like, are you gonna be able to walk Luigi when you get home?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I honestly didn't.
You knew I was gonna play guitar?
Well, I had a thought. I guess maybe I had a thought that, maybe you can't get home because you were going somewhere after therapy.
Yeah.
But I didn't write a couple hours to get out of walking him. It was just, I was going to the range.
No, I know. I didn't think that either, but I thought, I think I just bought myself a little bit more time than, because if let's say Andrew had to come home to get his sunglasses, he might not have, because then he would have had to walk Luigi as opposed to if he just went. So I was like, I didn't mean to, but I was just checking if he'd be there because I wanted to play guitar really loudly. And I was like, I think he now thinks I wanted him to walk. So maybe I'm sending him away a little bit with this.
Well,
I don't know what I'm going to do when you don't live here. I'm going to play guitar 100% of the time. I'm going to get so good.
I mean,
it's just too embarrassing to practice constantly in front of you.
I told you 2 hours. I got to the range.
And then he got back 6 hours later.
I think I hit like 550 golf balls yesterday. I have so much energy now.
I
don't want to talk shit about Zoloft because it really did help me a shit ton.
Yeah.
It might deplete my energy a little bit. Also, we're not traveling every fucking weekend for the last 30 weekends.
Yeah, you've had some time to be home and
it's like night and day.
And there's no looming travel coming up.
Other than seeing family.
Holiday.
Yeah, which is the hardest show of the year. I don't think
you're doing a lot more than 10 minutes. You'll be dancing the whole time.
I know. I don't get to sleep with a meal either. But I ended up. Yeah, I'm just so I have this energy, and I just need, and I'm just I don't know. I feel like there's freedom here, and that's why I just hit balls for literally 6 hours.
Well,
and then I saw that you were live.
You were doing that a lot back.
Yes.
You were putting in 550 golf balls days in a row back in the day. I think that life got in the way. Cold weather got in the way.
Yeah, this cold weather's interesting. But
Brenna moved back. You don't have as much free time now. And yesterday she's at work all day. Yeah. I mean, it could be the Zoloft, but I'm thinking there's a lot of other things too.
There's a ton of factors.
And you were doing this a lot before.
True. But I gotta tell you,
Are you coming again? You can just feel your penis again.
I can feel my penis again. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm a born again virgin who could feel his dick.
Wait, I'm sorry, I missed it. So you're getting off
He's
of
weaning
Zoloft?
off Zoloft because he got on Wellbutrin.
Yes,
Oh,
and
okay,
Wellbutrin
nice.
apparently is better with orgasms and sexual drive.
Why wouldn't everyone give you Wellbutrin first then?
Because I think
they got to deal with the Zoloft people.
I just think some people can still come. I think I wasn't that great of a comer to begin with.
Right.
So maybe there's people that come within 2 seconds when they have sex.
My friends are in a new relationship. He's 40 years old. She's
wait, what? 4 years
40,
older?
40. He's 40.
Oh,
she's
you said
43.
4. You said 4 years old.
No, I said 40, but it might have come out like 40.
Oh, that's why I was like.
He's 40 years old, or maybe
Okay.
I did say. But he's 40.
Check
she's
the
43. Tape. Maybe I did. It could happen. And they were there. They just met. My friend and Chris and I were in LA.
Okay.
About a month ago at this point. And Chris has two friends that they met that he knows separately one's from a work situation, a girl, and then the other is friends with through his brother. I know the man in this scenario, known him for a while. The girl Chris had become really good friends with since Chris and I had broken up. But now Chris and I are hanging out again. I was dying to meet her because they're so close and she just seems awesome. So I was in LA with Chris and I was like, I'd really like to have a dinner with Nick, this girl, and because I just need a new LA friend, and she just sounds, if he's so close to her, like it's gonna work out for me. And he's like, you know what? I'd love to bang out two like friends in one dinner. Like I'll invite Ryan and Nick. So we go to this dinner. We have a great time, just hanging out. They meet each other, but like we're just talking about all different things. She's seeing a guy at the time. He's like just getting out of a thing. There is literally no spark between them. There's
ask.
nothing.
Nothing?
There is nothing.
Where are they sitting? I think that's important.
Well, it's a square table.
Yeah.
It's Ryan. It's Nick.
But they're next to each other.
Yeah, but it's like I'm next to Nick and I'm
Yeah.
next to Chris. Like
There's nothing.
It's not they're on one side of the table and it's a square.
Okay.
And they're not across from each other. They're next. But literally, if you would have asked, no spark. And I
Okay.
even asked them later on, like, was there anything there that night? And they were like, no. Like we were just having a good time, talking openly about sex and dating. But she was seeing someone, and that she was very into. And he was just getting out of something with someone who is far too young for him. You know, like you. But
How
still.
dare you.
No, Brenna's the
She's
best.
26 now.
I know
And I miss you, baby.
I miss her baby too.
She's in the other room.
She texted me last night. She was so nice. Then after. So
Wait,
then
how
after,
long ago was this?
this was.
A week? Like,
No,
you're
this
just
was right
in LA?
after San
Like a
Diego.
month ago.
This was right after- so this is a month ago.
Okay, the other LA. Okay.
So then so right after that, we took a picture at the end of the dinner just to be like, that was such a fun dinner. Like, let's take a picture. Ryan tags us all in the photo and he gets her Instagram. They apparently just start DMing after that, just friendly. Like, it was so fun meeting you. Like, he has no intention. He was, just light DMs. And then all of a sudden, something happens. And Nick is a really good writer, like really good. And Ryan is just an emotionally secure, like just confident person. Apparently he has a huge dick. That got revealed at dinner too. That couldn't have hurt. And he's a short guy though. Huge dick, short guy. But it gets, and he's on the radio in LA. He's a part of the Ellen, or the number one morning radio show in LA.
Okay.
Ellen and Ryan, but it's Ellen's show from, she used to be with another guy on the radio. I don't know. I should know these things. So they leave, they start DMing, and they fell in love within 4 days. They're like, they see each
4
other.
days after that.
No, they see each other, I think, right away. Like the next
Okay.
day, maybe 2 days later. She cuts it off with the guy she's seeing. They start dating. They are official within less than a week. He's on the radio every morning. He brings her on the radio to declare that they're official. I go to dinner with them just this past week because I was in LA. And we go to the same place where they met. They haven't been back. It was 4 weeks to the day where they met. And I am sitting next to two people that are like a couple. Like they are the most comfortable couple. There's no like new couple energy of like this, like we're so in love. Like where you go, this is not sustainable. It's just, they just fell in love instantly and they're done. They're getting married. They're done. They just know.
Wait, what does she do in LA?
She is a writer, director.
Okay.
She is one of the most incredible people
So
I've ever
she's
met.
very like independent and she's 43.
I think
you said,
so.
or
Yes.
whatever. She's
Yes.
older than him.
Yes.
So they both have like fulfilled somewhat of their passion of what they've wanted to
Yeah,
do
they're
already.
both in a good. Ryan goes to bed at like 8 p.m. because he has to be up for radio at like 3 in the morning. And
Just
so
the timing sounds perfect for them.
It's all about timing. It's all about luck and timing. And we were thinking about it and we were like, oh my God, if Chris wouldn't have gotten exposed to COVID in St. Louis, he would have come out earlier to LA. But because he got exposed, he came out later and we stayed an extra day, which led to this dinner.
Ah.
If he would have gotten exposed to COVID, they wouldn't have met. Like, it's all of these like things that happen, like with truly anything. I mean, Noah, with you and Avi, like, do you ever think about that one thing that could have been different that would have led for you to not be living in Arizona right now with your fiance? And,
Oh my gosh. Especially since we met for the first time in 2011, but didn't start dating until 2018. I'm glad we
Wait,
didn't
how
date
did you
in
meet in
2011.
2011? Through his band?
Yeah, like through like the metal scene and stuff. So he was like in my peripheral, but we didn't start dating because of Instagram until 2018.
Was there
And
a
I
note
was-
in 2011 where you're like, man, that's a hot guy? Like, was there a
Did you clock
spark
it?
at all?
Well, I thought he was really hot, but I was like, oh, he's like the front man of a band. I'm not going for this again. And I was in a relationship anyway with another guy in a band. So,
Right. I'm not going for this again right at the same time that I'm doing for
Doing
it.
it again.
I already know that it's a bad decision that I'm actively in, so I'm not going to go for it while I'm going through this decision.
So punk rock.
And I mean, the same thing with you and Brenna. Like, if you wouldn't
Never
have...
moved. Yeah, if I didn't move here.
Well, yeah, if you
Yeah.
didn't move here, if you wouldn't have been on the podcast where she heard something on that podcast that made her go, this guy is worth following, or if you hadn't met Ashley and Raina, you wouldn't have been on that podcast.
Yeah.
She might have not have heard of you. And like, there's all these things that like, I remember one time I was in New Orleans and I was going to go put like $300 on black. Like I was just going to go fucking, let's just do it. And I remember I stopped to tie my shoe or to fix my boot. And I was with my ex-boyfriend and he was like, because you're doing this, the outcome's going to be different than if you didn't stop for your show.
It's the butterfly effect.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so interesting.
Did you win?
Yes, I did. I remember. Yeah, I doubled and then I quit. I'm really good at like I'm good.
That's huge. You quit after just winning once?
Oh yeah, winning once. I'm done. I'm good. I
Have
don't
you
like. I
ever,
gamble
have you
with
ever
every-
lost gambling?
Oh yeah, and it feels terrible. That's why I don't do it.
When did you lose? Like, and how much? Like, because I've
I think
experienced
the most
it. It's
is
tough.
a couple $100. Like I wouldn't. I've always set a limit where this is the amount I'm willing to lose, and once this is over, I paid for the fun of gambling that away.
That's
like all the
huge.
fun. Yeah.
I mean, I was in college. I was addicted.
I just
like bad.
If something feels bad
like
enough,
pawning things.
right?
Yeah.
Whoa.
If the pain is worse than the gain, I like
It's insane.
it's insane in the membrane.
No
Listen,
doubt, brain.
That's what drinking eventually became. It's like the fun of getting drunk was always fun. Let's clock that at about it was a 10 at times.
Yes.
And then it became about a 6 around the time that my hangovers became 10s in terms of pain. As soon as the hangover outweighed
Yeah.
the good, bye. It's
The
done.
problem is the first time I ever gambled and played blackjack, I won $2,000 off like
Right.
$40. I went out, I bought a PlayStation, bought a TV, bought a couch, bought like
I know, but
and
then you just
literally
spent it
a week
all.
later, I pawned it all back.
Oh my god.
And I still didn't learn my lesson. It was like a year later that I learned my lesson. But like,
Yeah. It's dangerous.
it's winning the first time is the worst possible thing that could happen to you in gambling, I think. Unless you've got this mental fortitude where you're just like, well,
it's
that
the
was
same
good.
as stand-up. You do it one time. Most people that do stand-up, as you know,
Yeah.
their first time on stage, they killed.
Yeah.
And people that have done stand-up and give up usually did it one time and they bombed and it was such a bad. Bombing is the worst feeling in the world. And killing is the best feeling.
Yeah.
And if you start with killing the first time you're on
I
stage because
did.
you
I
invite a
killed.
bunch of
I
friends
did.
and everything,
I had
that's-
45 people in the
do
audience.
that your first time because you're gonna suck. You are going to bomb eventually, but if you have that win, you'll always remember that feeling and you'll be chasing the dragon. It's like heroin. You're always chasing that first high.
But I guess I got so far because we did that one show and they gave me $600 in chips and I just cashed it. I didn't even play one hand. I was like, that's growth, or I'm lazy and I'm tired. But I think it's growth.
It's growth.
Right? Like to not.
Oh, for sure. You
But I
would've
do
just kept
miss
doing it.
blackjack. Like I miss. You could like play with the
Just get
chips.
some chips and play with them then.
Yeah.
Don't act like that's the fun of. That's what people do with drinking. I just like the taste. I miss having a beer after work. It's like then have a non-alcoholic beer after work if you love the taste so much. You don't.
But do you
miss
ever
that.
feel like we're too serious about do we miss things because of that? Like
Miss drinking?
Not just drinking, but just like I'm not gambling. I'm good now. But part of me misses the debauchery and the vices and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, stop taking yourself so fucking seriously too.
Yeah, I feel like now though I'm getting high off of things that like feelings
Yeah.
and vulnerability and intimacy.
Not like
and-
surface shit.
And like things
Yeah.
I was scared to do, like playing guitar for people, or like that to me was always like, oh my god, that's like doing hair. That's so scary. I don't want to do that because being embarrassed is scarier to me than doing drugs. Like doing something that I think is like good and it's not is more of a risk than dancing naked on a bar because you know what I mean? Like whatever kind of. Now I just think there's different things, and I always just think you had your fun, Nikki. Like it's done. Like
yeah.
if you didn't get it done, then it wasn't worth doing.
Part of me thinks, I guess, if I didn't get the high of stand up and like that feeling of putting myself out there, that I probably would still be probably
No, I think you
drinking
get it
and
somewhere
partying.
else.
I
Or
don't know.
if
Maybe not.
I think you would find it elsewhere.
Hopefully, I would be fulfilled in
know
whatever
do.
I did.
Oh, if I wasn't doing guitar, or I wasn't masturbating, or I wasn't, you got to have something.
Yeah.
But
That was my thing. I'd go to a bar by myself, sit at the bar and meet people and just sit on the corner, and who knows where my night's going to go. Like, there was that feeling of like,
you
like,
get it somewhere else. You
Yeah.
either get it with sex, or like, that's why people go from being junkies to sex addicts. It's like, well, that's the lesser thing. That's not going to kill you as fast.
yeah.
Or it's not going to be as painful in the short term as that other thing was. But we're always just like replacing things. Food, sex, weed.
Gambling.
Weed just became for me like it wasn't giving me the returns were not as great as the negatives. Like it just was the number one thing for me is my brain and like being able to get work done and be smart and funny. And it was just making me unfunny. The second I found that it was struggling to like think of a line, and I was like, oh, it's because I'm high. Like I know it is. That done. It's out.
Do you think, is there any resentment like towards like me living with you where like maybe I could have said something before, or no? Yeah.
No, it's no one.
Because I know you've had that in the past, like with your anorexia stuff, like
where
it was
people
so
didn't
obvious.
say anything.
Yeah.
I just feel like, but people
Weed
write
is
to me
tough
all the
because
time.
weed isn't.
People write to me all the time and say my sister is anorexic and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Can you give me any advice? And I say, honestly, there's nothing you can do right now. You know what you can say? You can say, hey, when you're ready to talk, if you want to talk about this, I will talk about it with you and have no judgment, no shame. I don't
You say
care.
what it is. You say if you want to talk about.
Yeah, like
eating,
I noticed that you're doing something with food and your body, and I don't care. I don't judge it at all. Alanis Morissette shared in her documentary, and I thought this was such a beautiful example of someone being supportive about an eating disorder, because people don't understand eating disorders. If you don't have one, you don't get it, and it seems fucking weird. And her friend walked in on her sticking your finger down her throat, which is a very insane thing to see if you don't understand what that is. Even when I was anorexic, I did not understand bulimia. I thought it was like gross and weird. Turns out I ended up doing it a lot myself. But her friend just hugged her and said, and just rubbed her back as she was over the toilet and said, if you want to, I'm always here for you. And I'm like, what's going on? But she said the key was there was no judgment, because I think when I was anorexic, people were just like, what are you doing? Will you just eat something? Like, this is weird. Like, it was always met with like, you're choosing this and you're weird. Like, just talk to people that have anorexia and bulimia or like addictions like they have cancer. You wouldn't yell at someone for having cancer. You just wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Or so just always.
Yeah.
And the best advice I give is just tell them, when you want to talk to someone about this, I'm here and I will never judge you, no matter how bad it is. You can totally be honest with me. That's important, because when you're able to get honest about what you're doing, that's when you're able to change. In 12-step, the first step is just admitting you have a problem. And when you are confronted by people who are like, I'm worried about you, all you do is deny you, and then you start lying to yourself. But if you're met with someone that goes, I see what's happening, no judgment, but when you're ready to talk to someone, I love you and I will not judge you. And I know I don't understand it, but I'll try to. And I love you. And I know you're not trying to do this. And this is like, I'm here for you. And then then DM me when they come to you with that. And then I'll tell you what to do. But until they want to get healthy, they're not gonna.
What if they're like just going down on a ton of people in a theater? Like, is that?
Do they speak eloquently?
Am I eloquent?
Would they have her baby, his baby?
That line changed her life. That
my dad
one
said
line.
it the other day. He was like, I remember you and Lauren when you were 11, 12 singing.
We're talking about Alanis Morissette.
And will you go down on who in a theater?
How
and my
she
dad
says
was just
theater is unbelievable.
My dad, you're in the back seat singing it, and he's just like, what did my daughters just say? But we don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Down on you in a theater is a perfect way to write that lyric, because kids will not know what that means. Sing that all day, kids. They don't know.
Oh, you think that's what you get from it? That kids don't know what they're what she
We
was
had
saying.
no idea what that meant. Down on you in a theater means nothing
I
to
could
kids.
see your dad like pulling out of the movies parking lot, like, nope, we're not seeing fucking whatever. I don't know, something about Mary.
We don't give kids enough credit to know that they know that it's something they don't understand and they are okay with that. There's a million things a day that kids can encounter and they go, I don't know what that is because I'm a kid.
Yeah, it's like when I was singing Nirvana, even though I was singing it probably incorrectly.
I
and getting
still
the
don't know
words
what
wrong,
the fucking Nirvana is talking about.
Me neither. I
don't think you're supposed to.
It's a vibe.
It's seriously,
Yeah, I know.
most of their lyrics make no fucking sense even as an adult. But
We were
stop
singing
this
Rape
thing
Me
about
at 12. Rape Me.
kids do not know unless it's a visual, like pornographic, graphic video. Kids do not know and they don't care. They just go, that's an adult thing. I don't even want to know about that. They're not like, I want to do that. So stop policing your children's just the things they see and the things they read. Let them experience the world and give them the autonomy to go, that's an adult thing and I'm going to wait till I get to the age where I can do that.
So you're kind of, in a way, giving them the benefit of doubt. They're smart enough to understand while also knowing that it's
They're
not
smart
for
enough
them.
to know they're dumb and that they're dumb because they're young. I remember being a kid and being like, people seem to like this thing called coffee. It looks disgusting to me. It smells gross. I guess I'll figure it out when I'm an adult. They used to write checks. I'd see my mom writing cursive and I'd go, I didn't go, why can't I write cursive? I'd go, that's a thing I'm going to learn someday. I don't know it yet.
It's like when I would listen to Two Live Crew, and there was a line I still remember. I was like, it was my first tape I ever got. I was like 9.
Yeah.
Two Live Crew is the dirtiest rap music ever. And they nibble on my dick like a rat does cheese.
Well, once you know what a dick is, you're going to figure that one out.
But I'm saying, like, I didn't really know what blowjobs were at that time. I found it hilarious, just a visual
of someone just going, it wasn't like a sexual thing.
It wasn't
just like
sexual,
nibbling
but it
on a
was
penis.
fucking hilarious.
Yeah, let's get to the news.
You heard it here first. Yeah, you heard it here first.
It's Tuesday, folks. You know what that means? It is Tuesday.
Just kidding.
All the swells for everybody out there, except for Lance, actually, today. In a study that asked about the willingness to date...
Sounded like you were saying a girl named Anna Study.
Anna Study.
In a study, okay.
Like when I called that guy. Anna Collin. In a study that asked about the willingness to date someone based on their number of previous sexual partners.
Let me guess. Men were less likely to date women if the number was
Other
high
way around.
and women
Other
don't
way
care.
around.
Really?
Which I don't agree with, but that's what the study says. But it was a small study
very
of
small.
just one guy, I think.
What
But-
did it eat? Poll people at his Thanksgiving dinner? What the? What? Okay, so it's in a small study and a small study.
And a small study
Okay.
that an ideal is 2 to 3 partners was ideal, and a preference for some experience over no experience. I mean, I read the article. It went from like 10 to like 60, which I thought was...
Noah, what about you? I mean, we know Andrew's answer. It's preferably 0, but with the experience of someone who's been with 50. So, and that's most men. Noah, what is your ideal number of partners for a man that you're with in a perfect world?
Oh, ideal.
Mine
you
isn't
know what?
0.
I used to care about it. I used to like not want to know anything, but now I understand that everyone has history, including me. So I don't care. Like even if it's like hundreds, I wouldn't care.
Agreed. I wouldn't. If anything, I would be more turned on if it was hundreds. 'Cause
Right?
I'd be like, wow, this guy got it out of his system. Like he's ready
Yeah.
I get to. Out of hundreds, he's decided to stay with me.
I've
and
heard
like,
girls say that before, and that blows my mind, that sentence.
What?
No, the idea that like I won over 100.
Oh, I don't think they win. I just think they're just at a point where they're ready to settle down. It's like if I could have been number
Yeah, but you
33
just
and they
said-
wouldn't have stopped. You just convince yourself of that a little bit. And they have a lot of experience, so they must know what's good. I mean, you might be at a point in your life where you're ready to settle down, but you're not going to particularly settle down with someone that isn't good at the thing that you have a lot of experience with. So I'm probably can guess that I'm in the top 20% if he's going to settle down with me, regardless of if he's tired or not.
Yes, that's
So
true.
What's
Yeah.
Andrew's answer though? He said it's not 0.
It really
It's-
isn't 0.
it's
It's not
0.
0. Shut up. It's not. It's 1. No, it's honestly, I would say, depending on the age of the woman, I would say 5 to 10 is a solid number. That I would think is
Wow.
good. You want them. I don't want a 0, but it doesn't make sense.
Why
of the
did you say I
experience.
don't want them? What finish that sentence? I don't want them.
I don't want them to be a 0 where they haven't experienced sex at all, and then I'm the first person. It's a lot of pressure.
Oh, it's a lot of pressure.
Oh, also, yeah,
It's not
yeah.
about their pleasure. It's just because of you.
Well, that too. Yeah, I want them to at least come once before
Yeah.
we settle down.
I agree. I also,
But 5 to 10, I
I
know
want
isn't
them to keep
realistic
having
either.
partners after me.
Yes, or daring.
Daring and after.
Dare I say daring?
For me, it's like, honestly, I don't care. I don't care. I would like it to be up 20 or more.
Look, I used to have a lot
That
of
means that's a guy
reservations.
that likes sex and that has had a lot of it to have a lot of experience and like know how to fuck good.
I
what I
think though, I think the fear for me, at least earlier on, is like if a girl had sex with like 2 guys like in high school, it's like, whoa, 2 fucking, like it was like the number seemed bigger.
Yeah.
Also, STDs, like I had
A fear of those, yes.
probably a
Irrational.
irrational
phobia.
fear of it. I don't think I'm alone there. I think a lot of
No,
people. So if you
and
hear
you
like
should.
he's fucked 200 women, like
But I think if he's still alive, then he's probably okay. And it's like all been treated. Or he has herpes and I can avoid it.
yes, no, it's
Or
true.
get more.
No, I think you look at you.
Bring him on. I don't have herpes yet.
Double down.
Bring on a new strain.
It's
They
a-
need friends. Give them a roommate. Can your herpes meet my herpes?
Oh my god!
let's
that is a
cohabitate.
dating app called I think Herpes.
Herpes, hispies?
H date, I think it's called or something.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's smart. Why not?
No, but yeah, no. I think you look at it. You look at it way more. Maybe irrationally the other way.
I want to say if you haven't had sex with 20 people and you're a man listening being like, I couldn't get Nikki Glaser because I haven't. That's not like a deal breaker. I'm
Yeah.
just saying,
Right.
and I don't think that you don't fuck good if you've only had 2 partners or 1 or 0 partners. You could be a virgin and get married and then fuck that person perfectly. I think that honestly, a lot of times sex creates bad habits that lead you further away from being able to please a partner that you're trying, because you think all women are like the person you were with before, and then you do the same things and it's hard to break those habits than build them. So I think that either way can be fine.
Yeah, and I swear, like I really am like I wouldn't like if you told me or not. I don't want to hear about it in detail. Like, number 15 had more veins on his dick than 17. I don't want the details, but the number I don't think would really bother
Yeah.
me, unless it was like 6,000.
I can't believe my number because I've only had sex with 1 person in the
I
past
know.
8 years.
Oh, I thought you were making a joke.
No,
Like
one
ever.
Oh no, I've only had sex with 1 person in the last 8 years. Yet my number is 16.
You did it. I mean, you probably did 15 in a matter of like 3 months.
So by the time I was 28 was when I stopped having sex with anyone new, and I got all my numbers, and I got 15 in by 29. That's crazy.
That's the other thing too. The older you get,
I don't
and you're a
remember
guy and you're
doing that.
single. Let's say you have sex twice in a month.
Yeah.
That's 24 women times 10 is 240 women.
No,
like
I'm
numbers.
friends with guys, and I go, since we've been friends in the years, I can count. I mean, I lose count. There are so many. So don't pretend like your number isn't in the double digits, upper double digits. There's just no way. We've been friends for a year. You're in your late 30s. There's no way. You've been a comic for this long on the road, and I've witnessed this much. You've done a lot before then. It's just statistically there's no, and they always play dumb like, I don't know, probably like around 40. I'm like, it was 40 in the last month, dude. Don't fucking lie. I know you're in denial of it because it makes you feel like you might have diseases or whatever it is, or like, but people just really underestimate their number. I think men do, because men don't add it up. Men don't. You can't even remember the names of. You couldn't if you had a gun to your head.
No,
remember how
I'm
many
not
your
claiming
number.
I do. I think they're all named Jennifer.
But if you had a gun to your head, what would you guess is the number right now? Within 5 seconds. 5, 4,
60?
3. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's weird, like to say that number though, because like in the last couple years, COVID obviously changed some things, but like it was all within a window, like all these like little window. Like I binge. and then it's like I'm gone.
Because you didn't have sex for
yeah.
a while.
I know.
You weren't having. I mean, you lost your virginity at what?
18, 19.
And then you didn't have sex for.
I probably had sex with like maybe 5 women in college. My 20s, I just drinking.
It's a blur.
It's a blur.
Yeah, that's
so
what
it's
happens
like I don't.
me.
I look at it as a chunk of time as opposed to.
You look at
'cause if
women
you
as
go into
chunks?
I look at chunkies. I call them. But if you go through like. You have that talk and you start going to specifics of each story of each, like, not mistake, but like it's a mistake. There's
I can count. I've made lists when I'm bored on planes of every guy
Yeah.
I've kissed or like
Every guy- yeah.
I've like hooked up with. Like I have lists, and it's so funny because I know my number is 16 or 17. Like I kind of forget which one it is. There's always sometimes I get to it and I'm making a list and I'm like, how am I missing 3 guys? Like, where the fuck are those? Because I know I've done the math at one point, and it was definitely 16 or 17. Where are these 3 guys? Who were they? I don't remember. It's so wild to not
you
remember
see
people
them, they
that
just
were
have a blurry,
inside
they
you.
just have a blurry face in real life. You're like, I'll never know. Like,
Yes.
I mean, you could really wrap your brain. I was like, oh my God, I did that. Like, I have those moments sometimes.
Sex is insane. You were inside someone, your penis, and you were going, on them, and you can't remember that? Like, what the fuck is, like, I really do think we disassociate during sex because it's too weird to remember how gross we look. Let's get to the next story.
Sex and the City writer Candace Bushnell, 60 years old, admits she regrets choosing a career over having children as she is now truly alone. When I was in my 30s and 40s.
Doesn't she have her shoes, lover? I hate Sex in the City so much. It's so
we
good.
tried to watch it this
It's
weekend.
disgusting.
It was bad.
Hi, lover. And Sarah Jessica Parker is suddenly this like, oh, I'm too embarrassed to talk about my sex life, and
I can do it on paper.
And they have to say their age every second, and they have to. It is so obnoxious. It's the kiss thing. One of my best friends, who listens to the show, Laura Kotler, she told me that like the end of episode, get through that. I've only watched the first episode. Get through the end of episode 3 because the kiss thing ever happens, and it should be. We should do a whole collection of kiss about the series. Sex in the City, how many kiss there are. It's the whole show is kiss.
The podcast thing, like the host, like not thinking she is sexual enough, and she's like, it's just, oh my God.
It's painful.
And then the Peloton scene, I'm with Brenna.
And just Charlotte is such a little, like Charlotte's always so uptight. She would never, whenever I watched the old Sex in the City, I hated Charlotte and Samantha as friends. Like there's no way they would ever be friends. And then Charlotte at the piano recital, like scolds Miranda for bringing wine. Like, and then Miranda like needing wine was
Double cuh.
Everything was kuh. Even Miranda going back to that class and like talking and trying to be like woke. It's just it's kuh-palooza.
It was funny watching the Peloton scene with Brenna because I am 15, 16. She's like, you're not going on a Peloton. Like, she like looked at me.
I can't believe Peloton gave the rights to that scene because
the stock went down like 400 points.
I would never want to get on a Peloton bike if I was a man.
Alone?
Never.
Yeah.
Why would they ever sign off on that? They thought that was going to be good for them, and then add insult to injury.
It was like a commercial.
He is a sex predator. Did you hear the stories that came out about Chris Noth?
Yeah.
Oh, in real
Noth,
life.
whatever his name is, who gives a fuck? Dude, they are he's a rapist.
Oh.
Allegedly. But
Well, he's
like,
dead now.
Read the stories, you guys. If you don't know, read the girls' testimonials of what happened to them, both in 2005 and 2015. That if he did 2 very similar things, decade apart, he did a lot more in between. A lot more. Yeah. He's a bad guy.
Well, this woman says, and by the way, it was interesting though. Like, it was like emotional. Like, Brenna started crying because she was thinking about me dying.
Oh my God.
And then I like literally the next day got salmon. I was like, well, I'm eating salmon now.
Is salmon gonna?
I don't know, dude. Nothing makes sense. Okay, when I was in this woman though.
Salmon. I guess because it's healthy.
Like healthy. I just
okay, and then you choke on a bone. And just like
just the smallest bone ever.
You just do. Why was he sitting there just kind of like? I guess you get dazed after you have a heart attack and you just live, but you just like kind of slump in the corner, like you're waiting at the airport and there's no seats and you're at your gate. Like, why was he just sitting there? Just and everyone's like, why
call
didn't she call the
911.
cops?
Oh, because his phone fell in the shower, so it wasn't working, I guess.
Oh.
Right? Yeah.
No,
that's
those
what-
things are. He definitely has at least a 12, and those things are waterproof as fuck. So don't give me that. All right, Siri.
Oh, okay, but this woman, let's hear. I just want to read this quote
Oh yeah,
to you.
I want to hear.
Because when I was in my 30s and 40s, I didn't think about it. Then when I got divorced and I was in my 50s, I started to see the impact of not having children and of truly being alone. I do see that people with children have an anchor in a way that people who have no kids don't.
Okay, write
But
a
that
book
anchor
about that,
could drown you.
please. I want to hear about that feeling because I just don't. I'm pretty sure that I'm not gonna be a mother, and that I'm gonna. And if I get to the point where I'm Candace's age, I'm 60. I would foster a teenager. Like I would just find some way to get kids in my life. I would go volunteer with.
I was thinking that she could adopt, but
I mean, do they give? She's a billionaire, so or
it's
multi
15 million. They say, or it's 18 million, something like that.
So
What-
she does
got
all
plenty
right.
of money.
Yeah, she could probably.
but then you adopt. You're 60. What age do you adopt?
17. That's what I'm saying. Foster
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying,
a teen, or like just go be around young people if you need that in your life. And I understand that's not the same as having your own kids, but who's to say your kids wouldn't have been drug addicts that fucking hate your guts? Like,
Especially if you're that rich. Yeah, it's a strong chance.
yeah.
And I mean, and you don't want to talk dirty on a podcast.
But I would love to, if she wrote a book about that feeling and about like the regret, I would love to read that and hear more about that because it just doesn't sound like, okay, they seem more grounded. What do you mean by that?
Well, I
I just,
guess-
oh God, that scene where Carrie looks at those heels and goes, hi, lover. I wanted to barf. And Kirsten wrote to me and said, I hate the normalization or the, of wearing stilettos. Stilettos are so bad for women's feet.
Destroy them.
And this is making it seem like acceptable, and that's the way. No, girls, do not.
Do you
give
remember
into
the
this.
first pair of high heels you ever put on? And do you remember the first
No.
commercial or movie or thing going, I need to stand up like a deer on my toes? Like,
No,
you don't remember it?
But I mean, it was always there. It's always there.
I know. It's interesting,
It
though.
never leaves you. I mean, I will say that Sex in the City, she's like a very cool writer, like body chick who like stands up for herself and doesn't wear a shit ton of makeup and just dresses funky and fun, and she's wearing stilettos everywhere. Like, she didn't make stilettos look like this dainty, I'm gonna be a wife and just be a good woman type thing. She made it look like a rebellious kind of statement of like, I like these things and I'm gonna wear them, but it's like
Even if they're
it's
uncomfortable.
foot binding. It
Yeah.
is literal foot binding, modern day foot binding for women.
I feel like for women, it's like the idea of like womanhood is like now you get to put on like your heels and makeup too.
Yeah.
It's just like now you're old enough. Like there's this like window. It's like a bat mitzvah for Christian women is makeup
Wasn't
and
it
heels.
creepy when Alanis Morissette in the documentary said
When
that
she was 11
when she
or
was,
15.
when she
yeah.
reached when she was when she got in, she was a pop star. We got to go to break. When she was a pop
Yeah.
star before the age of 15, men would. She looked hot. Like she looked
She looked
older.
old,
She looked
yes.
mature, but men would not hit on her until she turned 15. And then something happened when she was 14. They'd kind of go, "Oh, you're 14. Okay, can't do that." When she turned 15, the fucking floodgates opened.
I
The
wonder if that's
levees
the
broke.
age in Canada.
I think it's just the age where men go, that's a sexual woman. Or like they just, there's something about 14 that still seems like a girl, and 15 just seems like, I know it's not technically legal, but like she wants it. It's disgusting. Let's go take a break, and then we'll be back with Why Do I Care? Why do I care? Why do I care?
Spider-Man producer warned Tom Holland and Zendaya
That they
not
should
to
not date.
Yeah.
And yes, but
He
they
al-
still did.
she-
She also warned Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst not to date. She also warned Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone not to date, and they all did. Listen, this is gonna happen. If you're dating someone and they are involved in a movie that is a huge blockbuster where you have to do all this press together and like honestly fall in love on camera, like if my husband were an actor, bye-bye. You're gonna fall in love with if you go on Dancing with the Stars, I'll see you when you get kicked off and you realize this is all a fantasy. You're gonna fall in love with that person. It's gonna happen. The Brad and Angelina effect It's you guys sit on someone next to someone on a plane. Just and talk to them the whole time. And you tell me that you're not more attracted to that man that you were not attracted to at first after that plane ride. It is the proximity. It is being forced to talk with where you
That's
are
why I
looking at
asked about the Nick and Ryan thing of where they were sitting because I was wondering how close they were.
I could get two people to fall in love. I really could. I'd say talk to each other with your faces this close together on a plane. Forced closeness, it breeds intimacy, and it doesn't matter if you have a partner at home. It doesn't matter.
Also, don't you think the movie makes more money the fact that they are dating?
Of
and
course,
that's
I want to go see it because it's hot, and I know that they're like hot for each other.
I
the
saw
whole time.
the story. I went on YouTube. I just typed in Tom Holland and Zendaya
Yeah.
and just watched them in interviews.
Oh my God. I'm getting literally my vagina just tingled because of what I watched on the morning show yesterday. Have you finished the morning show season 2?
No. But you can. Go ahead. Oh, nothing?
I can't, I'm getting shivers. You guys know that I love romantic scenes. By the way, people have been sending me so many romantic scenes where the guy confesses his love or there's that watershed moment of I love you and I've loved you for a while. Dude, someone sent me one between two girls on this Emily Dickinson movie. That was hot as fuck. I've never gotten into lesbian romantic moment stuff. So any of these scenes, I can't believe no one mentioned or suggested, maybe I didn't see it, the morning show.
Who's in the scene?
Who do you think? Spoiler alert, turn it
Aniston.
off if you haven't finished morning show right now. Skip ahead 30 seconds.
I feel like it's probably Aniston and...
No, dude, it's fucking Crudup and Witherspoon.
Oh, shit.
He shows up at her door to help her find her brother because her brother's missing.
But they've already hooked up, right?
Maybe. It's shady.
Yes.
But then at the end, he's just I need to tell you something. They're on the streets and looking for her brother. And he's just I love you. And it's just oh God, he is so hot. I can't take it.
So he made it about him while they were looking for the brother.
Yeah, because he was it was funny because all of a sudden she gets a call and they're we found your brother. And she's I can't deal with this. Yeah. She's runs off. That's a great
was it
season
them
finale.
banging? It showed them banging?
No.
Oh.
No. It's just I don't need to see banging.
No.
I need to see the moment where the guy just is his defenses go down and he's I'm in love with you. And that moment that breaks the tension.
Now, can you... It is interesting when a scene just out of context can get you there where you can kind of put it all together. But the fact that you've watched the whole show probably adds, obviously.
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot to
You
the
need
scene.
that because you need all of the sexual tension building up to it.
Yes.
It's the breaking of the thing that you go, is it there? I'm sensing that it's there, but am I wrong about this? And then it all... Woo! Okay, let's get to the Reddit dump. This is your Reddit dump. All right, this is the Reddit dump. Okay, I thought you might like this. This is on a Reddit TikTok cringe, which often has TikToks that are interesting. Sometimes they're cringy. I don't know which. This one was kind of both. It was a girl talking about posing with your boyfriend. It's now the season where you're posing with your boyfriend, and she writes how to pose with a short king. So she's dating a guy who's shorter than
Tom
her.
Holland and Zendaya.
No, it's well, yeah, but
No, I'm saying
he
that's...
kind of looks like Tom Holland. He's so cute. She's so hot. She looks like she looks like Gal Gadot. And this is her talking about that.
Right, Josh? Right.
So and it's kind of funny because she's throwing him under the. She's kind of dismissing him the whole time as the joke, even though people are probably what a fucking dumb twat. She doesn't even let him talk. But that's the joke, is that he's short, and so she's kind of just be here, honey.
And
And he's totally in on the joke.
It's easy for him to get under the bus.
I am a tall queen and I'm married to a short king, right, Josh?
Right.
So it is holiday season and we know that means pictures. We all want pictures with our significant other, even if they are a little bit shorter than you. I want to look cute and I want to wear heels.
Me too.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
So I'm going to show you how to pose with your short king.
Or your short queen.
This is our height.
This
I
is our
have
height.
a very short heel on. I am not wearing flat.
Okay, so what she does is, so she's about I would say almost a foot taller than him. What she does, I've never done this because I had did Luigi just
so
yawn?
cute.
Are you a baby?
He looked like one of your short... He looked like the short king next to you.
Do you
Yeah,
wanna
he's
pose
like, I'm
with
the
me
short
for this?
king.
Yeah, Luigi is a short king. Marion's a
love
shorter
you.
queen.
He is such a sweetie lately. I love you, boo boo. He just wants love lately. So I'll talk like this when I do it because he just likes when I talk like this. So what she does is she puts the her front leg in front. She puts one leg in front of her back leg, and on her back leg she bends it so that you don't see her leg bending in the back. Let me stand up and do this for you guys. Let me just show you. Okay.
She won't look like a pirate though.
So she goes like okay. So it's like this.
Yeah.
And she does this.
Ah.
And like this, and she bends this leg. So
Wouldn't she straighten the front leg? Yeah.
it's like this,
Gotcha.
and so you bend this back leg is bent. See, if you look, I'm bent like that.
You do it a lot. You do it. No, I'm saying
Jon
like
Stewart
watch.
accused me of it.
Oh.
I wasn't gonna sit on him. I'm very aware of my butt and
Butt.
Luigi. Jon Stewart. When I met him, I took a picture with him, and he goes, "I saw what you did there. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "I'm a short guy. You had to bend down. You had to bend down." I was like, "I swear I didn't. I really didn't even."
But you do it in when you do
Meet and
pictures,
greets?
meet and greets. It's not like a mean thing, but you just have. I think it's a tendency for you to like.
'Cause
You're
I-
really good at it.
I
Like,
want to
'cause it
just
seems
get on the
natural.
same level. I don't want it. I like to be close to their head
You don't have to pat him on the head though.
and go, "You are so cute. You good to
Little Johnny Stewart, little
Oh, you want
millionaire.
to take a picture with me, you little baby? Oh, you want to sit on my lap? Tell me what you want for Christmas." All right. The next thing on Reddit dump. Oh, shut up, bitch. Now I'm like yelling at her about the thing that I just said. Okay, so stop. Okay. What is hot when you're? This is on Ask Reddit. What is hot when you're horny but isn't when you're not? Here's some answers. It's always fun to read. Cream pieing a one-night stand. It sounds really sexy and exciting at the moment, but it's a horrible idea otherwise. Cream pieing, if you don't know, is...
Yeah.
Yeah. Pulling my hair. I have a very sensitive scalp. Nothing pisses me off quicker than getting my hair yanked on, unless it's during sexy time. Then I love it. Wow. Do I relate to that one? And you need to grab it, a lot of it, not a little bit. Let's not even talk about the time you grabbed a couple strands of Brenda's hair. It makes me, I can't even listen to it. It makes me so sad. Someone said, I used to date a girl who was into huge toys and fisting. I was happy to indulge. We would take videos and pictures. One time after a session, she was kind of like, fuck, I think I'm starting to cross a line. She asked me to delete it, and we had some drinks. And after 4, she was like, hey, you didn't delete those pics yet, have you? Then she took a second look, and she began talking about trying more stuff. We broke up because her job took her elsewhere, and my field was pretty sparse there. Still think of her most days. I don't understand.
Oh,
so
a
like
video of it they took. I
she
guess.
didn't want to see a video of her getting fisted until
After the fact.
after she got
Yeah,
drunk.
yeah.
Because after, when she sobered up, she's like, ugh, I shouldn't have done that.
I'm
I mean,
so
I relate
dirty.
to
Yeah, for sure.
doing things during sex that you're like, I don't need to see that shit. Do you have anything?
I mean that everything you said,
anything.
yeah, all that stuff. I mean, there's times where you end up eating the girl out or blowing, and you're under the bed. You don't even know how you got under. Like,
Ask Reddit. What is your worst experience on drugs? These are always my favorite to read. If you want to have a good old time, go to Ask Reddit and just read people's responses, because you just get all the best responses get upvoted. Someone said, I once on shrooms convinced myself I didn't exist. My eyes were just movie screens and I was watching someone else live their life. Someone said, I've had something similar before on weed. Was truly terrifying. It's basically depersonalization. I went into edibles thinking it would be real chill, and I experienced depersonalization bad for like 3 hours. It was the strangest thing. Someone said, did a dab, threw up, slept on my friend's carpet for 14 hours. Someone said, called 911 one time on mushrooms because I was smoking a blunt and tripped myself out thinking about my lungs. Asked them to come to my house with some oxygen and to leave the lights and sirens off. Good times. Have you ever done
hilarious.
salvia?
no.
Can I just say, never do salvia, you guys? I've done it once and I didn't have this experience, but I've read so many forums where people have done salvia, which
What
is
is
kind of
salvia
like,
again?
it's like this illegal thing that's like you smoke it and you trip for like seconds, but it
Okay.
feels like an eternity, and people have the worst trips ever. Someone said, I smoked pot for the first time in almost 20 years to de-stress and ended up experiencing massive anxiety. I think I smoked too much because I had to remind myself to breathe. It felt like my brain was forgetting to tell my body to do it. That seems like something that would happen to you.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the ER multiple times, but the one on weed where I ended up in the heart ward for 3 days.
There you go. That's gotta be it. Someone said, bought salvia at our FSU weekend Wednesday market thing. Scariest drug I've ever taken. One friend said he went back in time and saw his dead dad. The drug kicks in so fast, gives you no time to assimilate. Someone said, tried salvia once, never again. Thought I was trapped in a new state of life where I had no body. Worst ever. Someone said, I was trapped in a universe that was just 1/3 inch of standing water. I was actually standing on a pool table. Someone said, why do people do salvia? Seriously, I've never heard anything fun that comes of it. Is it just people wanting to test their limits? Someone said, salvia gave me anxiety for months after. So not worth it. It made me question reality and 3D space. It all felt so much less real about having reality steamrolled by... It all felt so much less real after having my reality steamrolled by salvia. I'd get freaked out when thinking about materials and surfaces, trying to understand what they are actually made of. I get that they're made of atoms, but what exactly does that mean? What is it? What is it? I guess it's hard to explain, but thankfully that doesn't affect my daily life anymore. Someone said, I've never heard of a single person that ever enjoyed salvia. I've heard many first-person accounts of trips, and they all sound like unmitigated nightmares. Someone said, got stuck in the woods at a music festival on acid because I was afraid that the cars in the parking lot were out to eat me. Final thought. Oh, someone said, what is something you call by a company name instead of the actual thing it is? This is an Ask Reddit. Some
Jeep.
examples include, what was that?
Jeep. I don't even know what that is besides a Jeep, but apparently that's the brand.
Well,
I thought Jeep was a car, but it's a brand.
oh, you thought it was a type of car, like a sedan or something.
Yeah, or like an
there could be a
SUV.
Tesla Jeep.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like when Andrew did a prank call and he said, I'm calling from Macy's about the Zara sweater you didn't return. And I go, dude, you're talking about two separate
What?
things. You can't return a Zara sweater to Macy's.
Wait, a Jeep isn't a kind of car?
No, a Jeep is
It's
the
a brand.
No, I know
It's
that,
like
but
Kleenex.
it's also-
company.
Okay, I had a coworker that called all donuts Dunkin' Donuts, and it drove me crazy. Someone said there were some interesting ones in here. Taser. Taser is a acronym. Roomba. Yes. Do you know that Taser is an acronym for Thomas A. Swift's electric rifle? Allen wrenches, Frisbee, Velcro, Kevlar, dumpster. That one's an interesting one.
Duct
wow.
tape.
Yeah, dumpster is the actual brand. Duct tape, rollerblades. They're actually called inline skates. Rollerblade is the brand. Okay, so this isn't what the OP asked for. OP on Reddit is original poster, the person that posts the question. But all edited images are referred to as photoshopped, regardless of what software was used. Jacuzzi,
Yes.
Zamboni, Tupperware, trampoline, Post-its, Xerox, chapstick, Google, Band-Aid. Who's doing anything but Googling, though? Like, you're not going to Alta Vista or
Bing
Web Crawler.
or fucking Ask Jeeves.
Yeah. All right.
Band-Aid. What is that then? What's that called?
It's called like a
Medical
plaster.
yeah.
At least that's what they call them in Britain, a plaster. What is something common that has never happened to you? This is on Ask Men. Never been in a fight. Being a guest on someone else's wedding. Literally every person I know has been on one but me. Nope. I'm afraid the first wedding I'll ever attend would be my own.
A nosebleed?
You're lucky if that's
I've never had a nosebleed.
You haven't?
Not like maybe picked my nose in some blood, but never like a nosebleed.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Broken bones, someone said?
Never had a broken bone.
You haven't?
Stitches, but no broken bone. Have
One
you broke
night
a
stand?
bone?
Yeah.
What did
My heel bone.
How?
The hardest bone
Oh,
to break
yeah.
in your
Well,
body.
yeah, climbing
Jumping
the
over a fence. Being stood up for a date, someone said. Never been mutually in love. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Chicken pox, someone said they've never had. Well, they'll get it.
You're going to die.
Top 3 green flags. This is for dating advice. Dating _ advice.
Green.
Green
I
flags.
thought like literally.
Yeah.
It's like thinking the Masters. I literally was.
You're like Bosnia.
yeah.
Number 1 is kindness to everyone, not just me and his friends / family. 2, open communication about how he feels outside of and inside of the relationship. A good sense of humor and optimism. Oh my God, hold on. We have a couple minutes. I wanted to get to this. I'm reading the book Attached, and I promised I'd finish it because I told Noah I would. So although I would have already put it down, I keep reading it. Last night I couldn't sleep. Holy fuck am I anxious attached. And you guys got to read this book because it makes you feel so less crazy for being a girl that overthinks things. Anxious attached people, I did not know this, pay attention to details that other people just do not. And it's not because they're crazy. It's because oh my God, the statistics are so crazy. In the dating pool, there is not going to be as many. You're always looking for a secure partner if you're anxious attached. Always. Like if you find someone who is, there's anxious attached, there's secure attached, and then there's avoidant. Most of the dating pool is avoidant attached because avoidant people avoid relationships. So they're always getting thrown out of them and they're back in the dating pool. So most of the people that you're going to date are going to be avoidant. And the second if you're an anxious attached person, which a lot of women are and men, the second you sense that they're avoidant, get the fuck out because it's not going to change. And you need to look for the red flags of avoidance. So this book, though, the chapter on anxious attached, I didn't even want to read it because I'm like, I know I probably am. I don't want to be labeled this thing that has the word anxious in it that makes me feel like I'm a clingy, like needy, nothing is ever going to be enough. I want love, please me, kind of girl. But I am, and there's nothing wrong with it. Anxious attached people are not bad because they feel unlovable or they feel like they're not good enough. Yes, those are kind of things about it, but the reason you are is because the way you were raised and because you didn't get your needs met at some certain point. It's not your fault, and it doesn't mean you're unlovable. It doesn't mean you can't have a stable relationship. You don't even need to fix yourself. You just need to find someone who's secure attached, because when you're anxious attached, things that that trigger your anxiety are like I'm someone who will know exactly. They gave an example of here's a guy that's anxious attached and he knows how many times the phone rang before it went to voicemail. Then he knows he called again. Now it rang this many times. Then he realizes it was 7 minutes before she got back to me. What was she doing that knows all the times, knows okay, they watched my first story, but then they dropped off. I know all of those things. When I'm into someone, anxious people are constantly looking for validation that the person they are into does not like them. And then as soon as they get validation based on one of these things that they see that other people, by the way, are anxious people actually do, they're right.
Well, a lot of comedians, that's our observation.
Well, they're right.
Yeah.
Anxious people notice things. They've done tests that either avoidant or secure people just don't notice. We pick up on little micro aggressions, micro things, because we're always looking for someone to not like us. And so when someone does one of those things, it validates that they are leaving you, and you do this thing called I forget what the word is, but you go into this mode of anxiety. It triggers it. You can be a normal person, and then it triggers this anxiety, and all that it takes for you to get out of this level of anxiety is a secure person. So a secure person might inadvertently trigger your anxiety. Let's say, for this example, this guy was calling his girlfriend. It rang 3 times, it went to voicemail. The next time it rang not even once and it went to voicemail. And he starts spiraling. In that hour, he spirals. Because he's insecure. She doesn't like me anymore. She's avoiding me. Then all of these things. Turns out her boss was right there and she was in the middle of a thing, so she couldn't talk. And the second she communicated that, his anxiety is quelled and he's back to normal. And everything's fine. So the thing about anxious attached people is they will always get back to a stasis. They're not going to stay anxious if you are just with a secure person who tells you the truth and is not fucking with you. Now, avoidant people are constantly not telling the truth. They're constantly trying to mislead you, do things that will make you feel less than, judge you, leave things ambiguous. So they're going to torture unintentionally an anxious attached person. The interesting thing is the dating pool is filled with avoidant people. Avoidants never end up with other avoidants. There's been study after study. Anxious attached always ends up with avoidant attached or secure attached. You should always try to end up with secure attached. Anxious, they didn't really talk about the stats of anxious and anxious. I think that's probably a thing that happens but doesn't last as long. Avoidant and avoidant never get together. And what they said about anxious attached people is if you go on a date with someone who is secure, generally they do not validate the feeling that you have is that you're unlovable and that you're going to be left. So they seem boring. And after a while, which is what I was talking about, when you're in a relationship that goes up and down and every time you're anxious, you get soothed, you start to equate anxiety with soothing, the soothing that follows, and you start to like it. You start to like the anxiety because you know that you're going to be soothed afterwards in this way that feels so good and so puts you at such peace. So when you meet someone that's just stable and there's no wave, they seem boring. And what they found was that if anxious attached people wait that feeling out, the boringness, and stick it through, even though the person is boring and they're getting like boring alerts to be like, this guy sucks, he's boring. Wait it out, because what they found in studies is that anxious attached people, when they make judgments about things like, okay, it took him that long to write, he doesn't like me anymore. They were usually right, but they were right so much more of the time. They're usually right when they make these judgments, but their rightness goes up exponentially when they wait 5 seconds, a minute, and make a decision. So they were doing these tests where like they show a person's expression and they have to guess, is that person mad at me or not? Or is that a bad expression? And when the anxious attached person had no time limits of like, now answer, they just answered right away. And they were right, let's say 80% of the time. I'm just making up these numbers. But when they were forced to not submit their answer about what they thought that person's expression was until a minute, where they were like, think about it for a minute. You have to. You're forced to. That person was right 100% of the time. So if you're an anxious attached person, you got to read this book, whether you're attached, like whatever way. It is it's so fascinating. And I'm someone that knows a lot about this stuff. So I feel like a lot of books talk down to me and like hold my hand through things that I'm very well versed in, because I've been going to therapy since I was 18. This book is opening my eyes to many new things every time I read it. So I can't recommend it enough. And I got to go to therapy right now. So I'll see you tomorrow. Don't be and Jack
Yeah, therapy.